Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Thank you for coming out today. It's a beautiful day. I think that, you look at all the weather that we had, the different rain, the cold, and then all of a sudden they said, well, you're going to have the Rosa Parks Award. So they brought out the sunshine and comfortable temperatures. So that is a blessing. Welcome again to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Association of Asheville and Buncombe Counties 2023 Rosa Parks Awards. This ceremony and reception is to honor women who have fostered a culture of inclusion in the Asheville community. They've worked to achieve a just society for the disadvantaged. They exemplify the nonviolent philosophy and pursuit of a better life for the non-majority people. And they're inspired direct action in the cause of social justice. They've been community activists. And we wanted to take this time to thank them for their work. Not just the work that they've done, but the work, as you'll hear, that they continue to do. I'm Jonathan McCoy, and I'm honored enough to be the vice president of the MLK Association, and I'm also the chair of its COPE program, its community. And the COPE stands for Community Outreach Providing Empowerment. And under that committee, we put on the Rosa Parks Awards. This afternoon, I'll be your MC, but I'm not going to be the only one speaking. We'd first like to start off today really by introducing Dr. Michael Dempsey, who is also a MLK Association board member, but also he is the Dean and Director of the Center for Graduate Studies of Asheville, Lenoir-Rhyne, and they are hosting us today, and we're thankful for that. Dr. Dempsey.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Very much appreciated. Before I get started with my comments and my welcome, I would like to recognize a few of the fine folks who have taken their time to join us. Today, very busy people. We have with us today George Seaberg, who is the board chair of the Asheville City Schools. George, are you here? There he is. Yes, sir. Good. Thank you for being here, sir. O'Neill Shelton came from Madison County areas, Madison County Chamber and AB Tech Madison campus. Robin Ramsey represents Senator Tom Tillis. Robin, thank you, my friend, for being here. We have Judge Calvin Hill, who is with the Chief District Court. Thank you, sir, for taking time today. And of course, we have Al Whitesides, who is a Buncombe County Commissioner and a good friend of the Martin Luther King Association of Asheville in Buncombe County. Hey, wow, Rosa Parks Awards. I can think of no more fitting tribute to a civil rights icon during Women's History Month to celebrate the resilience of women. But I would be completely remiss if I didn't mention that we are gathering in a place that is a stone's throw from the former neighborhood known as Stumptown, an area where African American families thrived for over a century before urban renewal and development came to Asheville. Stumpville, for y'all historians out there, Stumpville was a part of Asheville that was redlined during the Franklin Roosevelt administration, which means it was mapped as a neighborhood whose inhabitants were deemed unworthy of and ineligible for government-insured mortgages and credit that had been historically utilized by majority populations to build generational wealth. And I want you to think about this. If you look out that window, the eastern border of that red line ran right through that parking lot between this building and Gudger Street. But we can even go back further, of course, in an evening that celebrates, again, the strength and resilience of women. How can we not recognize the Cherokee Indians who originally populated this place that we presently occupy? Now, Lenoir-Rhyne University, very proud of what we do, but we cannot fully do the past, and we cannot not justify the elements that have led to this moment wherein our university, founded by 4 white Lutheran pastors, is the venue for a social justice celebration on what is sacred ground for so many people, past and present, alive and dead. But what we can do, and what I hope you'll join me in doing today, recognizing and uplifting women who have made our city better, not only through bravery, but through love eloquence, kindness, keen intelligence, business savvy, and an ability to envision grace at times when to the naked eye, grace is not a very easy thing to find. Lenoir-Rhyne is always honored to represent and promote Dr. King's dream of equity for all people and to provide an environment where everyone is celebrated, where they can be comfortable to pursue life, liberty, and happiness that is espoused in our country's declaration, but which has been historically denied to so many people. And tonight, we feel blessed as we reflect on Rosa Parks, the spark plug of the modern civil rights movement, and cherish her great memory by celebrating 4 local women who have given of themselves to create a more just and inclusive ecosystem for the people of Asheville. Welcome, and I thank you very much for being here tonight. One more thing, and I apologize, Jonathan, for going on too long. Come back on June 1st. We're going to have the Martin Luther King College Scholarship Award ceremony right here, and we are going to recognize young people in our community that are doing great things in Asheville. Thanks, y'all.
Well, thank you, Dr. Dempsey. That was a wonderful welcome to set the tone. Well, now it's my honor to introduce the MLK Association's founder and our president, Dr. Orlean Simmons, who's going to come with some words to set the tone for today.
Good evening. Good evening. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Association of Asheville and Buncombe County is committed to creating an inclusive community that celebrates diversity through our outreach providing empowerment initiative program. Women's History Month is observed globally in the month of March and seeks to celebrate and honor the social, economic, culture, and political achievements of women. It is a month that focuses on educating people about the important impact powerful women have made in both the past and the present. Today, our Martin Luther King Association celebrates and acknowledges the important contributions that have been made to our community by Ms. Annette Coleman, Ms. Willie Mae Brown, Dr. Dolly Mullins, and Ms. Catherine Mitchell by presenting them with the Rosa Parks Award. Rosa Parks was an American activist in the civil rights movement, and she believed that there was only one race, the human race. The United States Congress has honored her as the First Lady of Civil Rights and Mother of the Freedom Movement. Time magazine named her one of the 20 most influential and iconic figures of the 20th century in 1999. She was the first ever recipient of the International Freedom Conductor Award, presented by the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center. Best known for her pivotal role in the Montgomery bus boycott, Parks became an NAACP activist in 1943 and participated in several high-profile civil rights campaigns. In 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Parks rejected the bus driver's order to vacate a row of 4 seats in the colored section in favor of white passengers once the white section was filled. Now, Parks was not the first person to resist bus segregation, but the national NAACP believed the best candidate for seeing through a court challenge after her arrest for civil disobedience in violating Alabama's segregation laws. And she helped the Black community to boycott the Montgomery buses for over a year. A federal Montgomery bus lawsuit resulted in the 1956 decision that bus segregation is unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. It was her simple act of courage that set in motion a chain of events that changed forever the landscape of American race relations. One of her last famous quotes was, "I am leaving this legacy to all of you to bring peace, justice, equality, love, and fulfillment of what our lives should be. Without vision, the people will perish, and without courage and inspiration, dreams of freedom and peace will disappear." Rosa Parks was the first woman in the nation's history to lie in honor at the United States Capitol.
Thank you, Dr. Simmons, for those words. And now it's time to really get to why we've gathered here today. As I work to get information about and from our honorees, and thinking of it being Women's History Month and Rosa Parks, but also looking at what our honorees have done in their lifetime, and thinking of the women who have played a part in my life, it put in mind something that I think sometimes gets overlooked. When you hear and you really think about these honorees, I want you to think about what they really stand for. We know about storms. We know about thunderstorms. We know about thunder. But thunder is air making noise. These women are the lightning of the storm. The lightning is energy. It can hit you in the daytime. It can hit you on a cloudy day. It can hit you at any time, but it's energy released. And as you think about these women and what they have done and are doing, you're going to see their lightning, their energy, because they're still going on. And so without ado, we will now present our honorees. Our first honoree is Mrs. Willie Mae Brown. Yes. Ms. Brown is a lifelong member of the Asheville community. Her philosophy is a saying by the 18th century theologian John Wesley. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can.
To all the people you can.
To all the people that There you go.
There is a reward when it comes to volunteering for things. A lot of people say, "You're crazy." Crazy. Call me whatever you want to, but treat me with respect when you say, "I'm crazy." That's right. But I've enjoyed being crazy. And I've been involved in a number of things. But first off, I want to thank Dr. Simmons and Jonathan for recognizing me for this kind of an honor. It really is a treat. I've got a stack like that. But the one thing that you will learn as you volunteer across the community in various capacities It's not just for old people, it's for young people. We have to be guidance to them, and we have to tell them the way they should go. Amen. And I'm really concerned now about the gun violence that's taking place in our communities. And when they show them, once they are apprehended, we have kids 14 to 19 years of age having access to guns. Now that's a problem. And it's going to take every single one of us to volunteer in some kind of capacity where we can put a stop to this. It has to be stopped. We're not only losing our kids, we're losing valuable members of our community. And they can only be valuable if we show them the value that they possess and what they can do if they do the right thing. Now, my philosophy was not that of John Wesley, as Jonathan has said, but it's do what you can to make life a little bit better for somebody else. That's the main thing. And not only say it, but do it. Be an example. Because people can watch what you do and know what they need to do better than they can if you just say you need to do it. You see me doing it too. So do it. Do it and make a difference. Volunteer, because there is still a need in our community for volunteers. Now you volunteer, you don't expect to be compensated. You don't expect to be recognized. It's well and good if they do. It's well and good if they don't. But we have to do what we say we will do. And we have to do it to make a difference in our community. The community is hungry, and we have to make the difference. So. It's good to be recognized, but you don't do things to be recognized or to be compensated. You do things because they need to be done, and you can sacrifice the time, the effort, and the know-how in order to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Being a part of a community, you're supposed to make it better. We do everything we can to improve the area that we live in, and you can do that in a number of ways. It's by being, first of all, showing respect to your neighbors. As biblical days, love your neighbor as yourself. In many cases, that's hard to do. But when you respect people and treat them kindly, they do the same for you. Programs like this give me hope. When we see such a mixed group come together in harmony and in peace and in love, because there's a whole lot of people in here that I have met on various occasions in various committees, subcommittees, and boards and ex-boards and executive boards and everything else, and I feel I know them and I can trust them. The hope is having trust and people who can support you and help you to accomplish the end that you hope to seek.
Our next honoree is Dr. Dolly Jenkins-Mullen. Dr. Jenkins-Mullen is a mentor at heart. As member of the faculty in universities in Nigeria and Malawi, Dr. Jenkins-Mullen taught students who were often the first in their families to attend college. She also consulted with the women's caucuses of the major political parties in her support of gender equity throughout the continent. Her contributions to the democratization movement in Southern Africa was noted by the National Assembly of the Nation of Malawi. She was also a professor emeritus of UNC Asheville. She joined the political science department at UNCA in 1985. After receiving tenure, she was associate professor of political science until her retirement in the summer of 2018. Her teaching and research interests included American government, women, and politics of social welfare, legislative politics, and state and local government. Dr. Jenkins-Mullen led the political science department as chair for 10 years. At UNCA, her internship class and the senior colloquium before her retirement served as a connection between the campus in the community in areas reflecting her contributions to teaching. To paraphrase her words about her approach to teaching, she says, "This means being available, especially for minority students, to speak with them and learn from their experiences and problems in many places in Asheville that doesn't occur." She has been and still is an active participant in both UNCA's and the City of Asheville's diversity efforts in her retirement. As a community member and professor emeritus, she keeps on going. In addition to following the political example of Rosa Parks as a community activist, Dr. Jenkins-Mullen is a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 5, with more to come. And unfortunately, she didn't bring her side, or in counting. I think your husband put that in. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2023 Rosa Parks Award honoree, Dr. Dolly Jenkins-Mullen.
Nothing that I could say to follow up Ms. Willie Mae Brown. What she said is true, and I'm in total agreement with all that she said, and I'll be working with you now. Thank you.
It's an honor, first of all, to be honored by the MLK Association. The other is that it's a Rosa Parks Award. It's really amazing honor to receive any kind of recognition in this grand woman's name. And so that matters a great deal to me. Also, I study women in politics. And this may be one of the most, if not the most important award that I've received, because it comes straight down into these areas that I spent most of my professional career focusing on. Matters. You get yourself ready to go out, pull your sleeves up, and then you hope that folk can listen to what you say, but more importantly, that I can learn from the community. I go out to hear what people are saying as much as I do to share my own advice and my own experience in the community. I think, though, that my focus is primarily on misrepresented and underrepresented and poorly represented, if not, I'll just leave it there, communities in this, in Asheville and actually in the country. I spent my time doing that. And so I look at poverty and I raise these issues and I look at those things that keep people on the underbelly of society. And I like to think that bringing that information to people with numbers, I raise the statistics, I look at the healthcare data, all of those things, and I will share them when I'm speaking publicly and privately. And so I think that it might be helpful because people who are not interested in correcting this situation avoid me. It's always a good sign when the people who could be your nemesis don't want to talk with you about that. And I take that, unfortunately, as it is, as a sign that maybe I am helping the community some. And I have seen some improvement. Not as much as needed, but I've seen some improvement. Events like this give me hope. I like being in places where I see people looking positively ahead and with the energy that needs to happen to give us the hope. My head's down a little low at times because I see too much homelessness, and I see the violence is too much, and the poverty is too much. That's not what you said. You said what gives me hope, and I have to tell you though that those things stand in my way. Now, the flip side of that is when I see those areas being addressed more. We're looking at, as Ms. Willie Mae Brown says, when we're looking at the violence, when we're looking at poverty levels, we're looking at increasing, what people can live on, sustainable incomes. When I look at people having those conversations in positions that can change policy, and I've seen some of that. I've seen it with the Asheville City Council, and I've seen it with Buncombe County commissioners also, looking at what kinds of repairs, the reparations agreements that they've come to. When I think that they'll do that, which will move straight to the conditions of our children and our, black families particularly, in this city, at least, then I do have hope. It could be because they want me to think that, but I actually believe that from my heart that there are people who are in powerful positions who can make this happen, and it is hope. Hope is not even enough. I pray regularly that this will happen. There are too many of us suffering.
I'd now like to introduce Mrs. Catherine Mitchell. Catherine Mitchell's efforts are rooted in the law. Since her graduation from Rutgers University Law School in 1971, she has worked to stand for the needs of the community. She has even argued 2 successful appeal cases in front of the United States Supreme Court. Ms. Mitchell was a consultant to the City of Asheville's Housing Authority, where she revised the Family Self-Sufficiency Action Plan and developed several plans and policies centering on voucher and home ownership, Section 3 compliance, residents' participation agreements, and several other initiatives. She is a member of the National Bar Association, the American Bar Association, and the Epps Daily Law Society here in Asheville. She is a former board of director member of and secretary of the Western Carolina Women's Coalition. Currently, she is on the board of directors for Our Next Generation, Western North Carolina Youth Build, and is a member of the Business Advisory Council, Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina, along with being a member of the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce and the Asheville Buncombe Economic Development Commission, the Buncombe County Commission on Aging, and the Asheville Area NAACP. She is also the precinct chair of District 11 and Buncombe County Precinct 8. And somehow, through all that, she still has the energy to be the chief operating officer of the Riverfront Development Group, a community development corporation which has a mission to engage in activities geared to improving people's living conditions through home ownership and affordable housing. We celebrate our 2023 Rosa Parks Award honoree, Ms. Catherine Mitchell.
I am extremely honored to have this award today. I marched with my grandparents in Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama. And so this is very, very memorable. I thank my family who've always been activists because they have said to me, be brave enough to have a purpose. So we're proud. It is an emotional statement that is very uplifting and honoring in terms of the work that I do, which is not a topic of general discussion. So for an organization to break through the lack of a lot of messages to the media, but it is an honor because it says we recognize what you're doing. One of the main projects that Riverfront Development Group is involved in at the moment is the development and construction of the Black Cultural Heritage Trail for the city of Asheville. When I say for the city of Asheville, I mean its citizens, not the city government. That trail will have 19 markers
honoring people, natives of Asheville, and people who had moved here who made significant contributions to the community. And we're doing that for the city as a whole, and especially for our youth, so that they have ideas about people before them, their ancestors who were accomplished, and they can have the idea of accomplishment. My work with the youth that are involved with My Daddy Taught Me That youth development program gives me hope, because I see adults, and especially men, who are talking to youth and trying to assist them in developing a pattern of behavior, which is very positive. And so I hope that that program expands so that it can take on additional students and actually be at the forefront in a number of different neighborhoods.
Now I'd like to introduce Mrs. Annette Coleman. Mrs. Coleman is a Western North Carolina native who loves her community. She retired as a former vice president of Bank of America and First Citizens Bank with a total of 45 years of service. And she is believed to be the first African-American woman in Western North Carolina to be promoted to this officer level. Mrs. Coleman has been continually active in the Asheville community her whole life, starting with her membership and participation in the Asheville Student Commission on Racial Equality, A-SCORE. A-SCORE at Stevens Lee High School. A-SCORE organized and participated in nonviolent demonstrations to desegregate local businesses. She has served on several boards, including the Givens Estate, the North Carolina Symphony. She's been treasurer of the Memorial Mission Hospital Foundation, chair of the City of Asheville's Housing Authority, and a life member of the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce, to name a few. She is currently serving as vice chair of the AB Technical Community College Foundation, and she's also on the advisory board of Self-Help Credit Union. Since the fall of 2015, Mrs. Coleman has been coordinating efforts to support and restore the historic Alexander Chapel Baptist Church and Cemetery in Leicester. African-American community members buried in this cemetery made significant contributions to the prosperity of the region, and their stories are important to the legacy of the land and the people in the southern Appalachian Mountains. She encourages other people to get involved with the preservation of this site. She is our 2023 Rosa Parks Award honoree, Ms. Annette Coleman. Stay away.
The only thing that I have to say behind Ms. Brown. Let's do it.
Of course, we all like the recognition of the work that we've done over the years, but of course, I see it as a chance to be a role model. I continue to want to be a role model so that the people coming after me can see that it can be done. It can be done. And I stand on the shoulders of the people that came before me. And so much has happened, starting with A-SCORE in high school. We had to really fight for what was ours. But I see myself as being a role model, and that's why it's important to me. The work that I've done, again, is to let people know that no matter where you come from, you can go forward. And I see hope in the fact that our community is being inclusive, it's diverse now, and we can go forward. We can go forward. That all we need to do is get out and work hard. It doesn't matter where you came from, it's where you're going.
Let's have one more round of applause for our honorees, please. No, this is the way things like this should go. It shouldn't be so formal. It should be a gathering of friends, of celebration, of interaction. Because again, I always say this, if you think about it, yes, we're in 2023, but you think about how for 3 years we didn't have interaction, how we were isolated. So when we can gather together, we need to celebrate one another, celebrate being together. So right now, I'm going to ask Dr. Simmons if she'll return and give us any closing remarks that have been laid on her heart to deliver. And then after she finishes, I'll come up and close us out.
I offer my congratulations to all of the honorees for their leadership and inspiring service to our community. And now recognize the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Association board members who are present with us today. Ms. Vanessa Funderburg, Dr. Elizabeth Colton, Ms. Jennifer Nielsen, Dr. Michael Dempsey, Mr. David King, and Dr. Jonathan McCoy, our MC, who chaired this wonderful event with the help of board member David King. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Our association would like to thank these community partners for their contributions of time and energy in bringing about this award ceremony reception. Thank you to Alicia and Raphael Adams Media Group. If I messed up your name, I'm sorry. For the quality and professional promotion and coverage of this award ceremony and reception. Joy Hill and Sweet Joy's Kitchen for the delicious food provided for the reception. Lenoir-Rhyne University Graduate School and Dr. Michael Dempsey for their generosity, efforts, and hospitality in hosting this reception. Rebecca Pickens and Asheville Awards and Gifts for the beautiful crafted Rosa Parks plaques. I say thank you to all of you. Thank you so very much for sharing this time with us.
Well, again, thank you, Dr. Simmons. And so as we come to an end, as we will get ready, as we leave here, of course, we have the reception, and I'll try to pull the honorees in for even just a few more words. We're usually right out here in the hallway with video, just trying to make sure that we capture how you feel about getting this award. But as we get ready to move on to have food, I'd like to just have a blessing of us being together and also a blessing of the food. So if we'll pause for a moment of thanks, because we're thankful for this day and opportunity to come together in a spirit of peace and celebration and fellowship of blessing us with nourishment of our hearts and spirit. We're thankful for the food and drink we're about to partake of, and may it bless our bodies. And may we travel safely from this place and share the blessings of joy that we have had here today when we share it with our community as we go out. These are the things we're thankful for. These are the things we pray for. Amen. Amen. Enjoy yourselves, and thank you again for coming out this afternoon. Thank you.